Muy buenas a todos, gente, bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio aquí en el canal de Don Pepperronin. Vamos a continuar con esta fantástica serie de Genshin Impact. Estamos analizando qué es lo que está pasando detrás del bucle temporal, Matrix, Inception, Interestelar, las Tortugas Ninja, Spider-Man 4, yo qué sé. Películas varias, tenemos muchas para hacer referencias. Antes de comenzar, quiero pedirte que por favor te suscribas al canal, dejes tu like en el episodio y me sigas en todas mis otras redes sociales: YouTube, YouTube azul, YouTube celeste, YouTube naranja, YouTube morado, YouTube con café, yo qué sé. Vamos a comenzar. Estamos aquí con Dungersat, vamos a hablar con la marioneta de Dungersat, porque supuestamente la verdadera conciencia de Dungersat tal vez está muerta, no lo sabemos. Vamos a platicar con esta marioneta, a ver qué nos dice. Mejor agradecérselo que quedarme callado. Dungersat, gracias.
Traveler? You must be
Yo pensé que sí le
exhausted.
iba a hablar.
Come to think of it, we've been stuck in this place for a really long time. Heck, even the last time we were chatting happily with Dunyerzad feels like an eternity ago.
Y... F en el chat.
Paimon still remembers when we were sitting here, and the way her eyes sparkled when she talked about Nilu's dance of Sub-Zerus.
Apenas puedo recordar.
There will always be frustrations in life, but I know that the point of living is not to leave behind any regrets.
¿Cómo?
That was what the real Dunyerzad said, wasn't it? Does that mean...
¿Dungersat?
Yes, traveler.
Oh, so she's still just a puppet. But just now, how come...
Vámonos, Paimon.
What? Where are we going this time?
Iremos a ver la danza Sub-Zeros. ¡Gracias! Oye, llevas 10 años aquí metido. ¿Nunca se te ocurrió ver la danza? Qué frustración, de verdad. Es muy frustrante que a nadie se le haya ocurrido romper el ciclo de alguna forma. A ver, Dungersat, vente. Sí, me vale pito. Ahora sí vamos a patearle el trasero al viejillo este.
If you continue to resist, we will have to order an investigation into every single event organizer.
¡Cállate los!
The Grand Sage has already granted you much leniency. I advise
Agárrale,
that
dale
you
un rodillazo en el
exercise
estómago.
tact.
¡Rómpale! No en mi guardia.
Traveler? You don't have to get involved. He's a sage from the academia.
Tú baila, hermano.
Traveler.
Traveler? What the heck are you doing? If you get...
Shh, cállense todos.
Wait, they're not reacting. Have they been scared
Todos son
stiff?
marionetas.
Oh, of course. If this is the sage's plan, they wouldn't put themselves through this. So they're just substitutes.
What is this? What happened to the Grand Sage and his entourage?
Esas dos flores no son...
Like I said, they symbolize the goddess of flowers. It's just a shame that all the real Padisaras went extinct after her death.
Yes. The Greater Lord brought forth new Padisaras in memory of the goddess of flowers, but she ultimately could never truly replicate that beautiful shade of purple.
O sea que...
That beautiful shade of purple. Aren't these flowers real Padisaras? Just like the ones from the legend? I didn't even notice. Dunyarzad,
¿A quién le
did
hablas?
you
¿Dunyarzad
find
no
these?
está aquí?
But didn't you just say all the real flowers went extinct after the goddess of flowers passed away?
Yeah. What's going on here?
Cierra los ojos.
Huh?
Imagínate que los sabios no están delante de ti.
You guys are acting
¿Es
weird.
ella la que está dormida?
But, Hey!
They disappeared! So Nilu's the host.
Te estoy diciendo, mijo, desde el principio te dije, ve con... ¿Por qué nadie me hace caso?
Padisaras don't exist in the real world
Nadie me
anymore.
hace caso.
But in Nilu's
Le
subconscious,
dije, vato,
they can
lo
appear
primero
as
que tienes
decorations
que
on the
hacer es
stage.
intentar hacer que la vieja esta haga su baile.
It's
Rom-
just like the
haciendo el
example
baile,
Nahida told us.
se rompe
People
todo.
assumed there will be food
Pero
on
no,
a plate,
2
and
meses aquí
Nilu
atorado.
assumed there would be real Padisaras in the flower pots. So when you saw the flowers, you instantly knew it was Nilu?
Claro que no has visto películas, ¿verdad?
But if we want to end the samsara, we need the host to become aware that they're dreaming.
Tú
How should we
báilale y
make
luego ya
Nilu
vemos.
realize that?
Ya me lo merezco.
Am I dreaming?
¿Cómo lo supiste?
So I'm right. Is this Lesser Lord Kusanali responding to our celebration of the Sabzerus festival?
Más o menos. ¿Sí?
Wrong guess, but you aren't
Digamos que
completely wrong
sí.
either. The point is, what made you think this is a dream? As far as you know, people in Sumeru don't dream, right?
Sí, pero yo no soy de su número.
Yeah, but have you heard the tale of the first sage? To prevent a calamity, he went on a journey to find the Dendro Archon.
Ooh, sounds familiar. Dunyarzad told us a story like that when we first arrived in Sumeru City. So it was about the first sage, huh?
Yep, but in the part you heard, he hadn't become the first sage yet. There's more to the story. His piety and wisdom were acknowledged by the Dendro Archon, and she finally gave her blessing to him. All kinds of spectacular scenes appeared in front of the first sage, as if all the knowledge in the world was being painted onto a canvas right before him. He was captivated. After who knows how long, he mastered all the knowledge he could comprehend. Afterward, he said to the Dendro Archon, "I miss my parents, my wife, and my children. I've been away from home for far too long. They must be worried." The Dendro Archon smiled. The next second, the sage found himself lying in his bed, as if he had just woken up from a dream. His wife, lying next to him, said, "You're off to search for the Dendro Archon today, aren't you? Have a safe journey, my love." In the end, the first sage took care of many disasters in Sumeru City and founded the Academia. What a happy ending.
So, the first sage was dreaming ever since the beginning of the story? He never went on his journey?
Yes, but his faith and determination were conveyed to the Dendro Archon, so she blessed him in the form of a dream.
Paimon understands where you're coming from now. That's a really interesting connection. But we really gotta wake up soon, like the sage in the story.
Ahora que no lo saben, el sueño no
I
lo da
see.
mucho.
Well, it just so happens that today's Sabzerus festival is almost over too.
Baila, mija, baila.
Since we're in a dream, let's make this final dance of Sabzerus as beautiful as we can.
Gracias. Llevaba mucho tiempo esperándola. Si hubieras hecho desde el principio lo de que te pedí que hicieras, hasta Dunyarzad lo hubiera visto. Agárralo, agárralo, agárralo. Ah, ya no. Ese fue.
The wait is over, everyone. I dedicate this to our god, the dance of Sabzerus.
Parece musiquita de elevador.
I'd be lying if I said I had no regrets. I would have loved to see Nilu's dance.
No me digas que sí se murió, no. ¿Por qué me haces eso? A ver, como que hacía morir, ¿no? Pero... ¡Bravo!
Good
¡Es
morning,
super!
traveler. Oh, my mom feels like she's been asleep for the longest time. Paimon's head feels super heavy.
Como un bombo otra vez.
Did we oversleep? Do you even remember going to sleep last night?
Otra vez se está repitiendo el ciclo.
Paimon thinks it was after the Sub-Zero's festival. The Sub-Zero's festival! Have we finally escaped from the Sub-Zero Samsara?
Ya me acuerdo.
Quick, take off your Akasha terminal.
Después de que terminara la danza Sub-Zeros, me pareció ver a Dungersa. Pero entonces es el mismo día o no? Ya no entendí. Ya no está, ¿verdad?
She's not in her room. What happened? Huh?
Ella se despierta
What
temprano.
usual spot?
Ella madruga porque quiere que la diosa la ayude. Ahí pensé que iba a decir algo. ¡Ah! ¡Aquí está! ¡Catherine!
Well
Catherine
done,
es el
traveler
avatar.
and Paimon.
Claro,
And
Catherine es el
thank you,
avatar.
Dunyarzad, for organizing the Sub-Zero's
Tiene la
festival
misma
for me.
voz.
I'm sorry, who are...
Dunyarzad! You're okay!
¡Ah, está viva, gente!
Don't
¡Woo!
scare us like that!
Bien.
Oh, a traveler, Paimon. I have something amazing to tell you.
Soñaste con el festival de...
I just had a dream. And I saw Nilu performing the dance of Sub-Zeros.
Ay, qué bonito. El alba de las 1000 rosas. Misión completada. Catherine. Que de Catherine no es Catherine, ¿sabes? Me dieron mi primera constelación.
You're actually Nahida, aren't you? Paimon felt like Catherine was acting weird when we met at the Sub-Zero's festival. And Dunyarzad, did you save her? It's a really long story. We shouldn't disturb her. Her consciousness is still weakened. Let's chat somewhere else. How about by the traveler's favorite bench?
Dunyarzad, qué gusto que estés viva.
What's going on? Why are you two so excited to see me? Hasn't it only been a night?
It's actually been much longer than that.
Oh? Strange. Was I really asleep that long? No wonder I have such a headache.
Lo bueno es que estás viva y coleando. Viva y perreando, ¿no? A ver, la constelación del arcón, digo, del este vato. Al golpear a un enemigo con espada hierba afilada, el viajero recupera 3.5 puntos de energía elemental. ¡Ah, su pingo! Ya, cállate. Estoy chetado. ¡Qué barbaridad! No, hombre, cállate. Hierba afilada. ¿Estás cansado, ¿eh? Estabas quedándome dormido y no te vi. ¡No te duermas! ¿No te parece que es más fácil quedarse dormido en lugares ruidosos con un teatro o un bazar? La verdad, sí. No hay nadie de la academia por aquí en el teatro Subair. Así que no hay nadie que supervise mi trabajo. Cuando Azra me pide que busque a Zulkan, me pide que me asegure de que no haya estudiantes intentando tomar una imagen con Nilu. Apenas me queda tiempo para una siesta. ¡No te duermas! ¡Quítate el conmutador! Caterina, ¿cómo estás? Catrina. La Catrina.
Let's talk about Dunyarzad first. It's such a relief that she's all right. After we parted on the last day of the Sub-Zero's festival, I left the city and saw what the traveler had described. Among the countless dreams, I found one that was growing fainter and fainter. This proved my suspicion. Once Dunyarzad could no longer bear the Akasha harvesting her dreams, her consciousness began to dissipate. But this also meant it escaped the Akasha's control. Such a small fragment of consciousness can't last for very long, though. It will return to its original dream, where both will gradually fade until they completely disappear. I used all the power I had to keep her dying dream alive as long as possible, but it still wouldn't have lasted for much longer if it hadn't been for you two breaking the samsara. So it looks like we did manage to save Dunyarzad in the end. And not a moment too soon.
Es un verdadero milagro.
Huh? Why are you two smiling so happily? I thought you'd be so moved that you'd start crying. I need to spend more time observing human emotions.
Sí.
Both are fine. Everyone reacts differently. All right. You two must have a lot of other questions for me, right? After all, you saved my faithful believer. As your reward, I will answer any and all questions.
No tengo más preguntas. No, sobre lo que vi en ese sueño en el bosque, Avidya.
At the Avidya forest, there was this incense that made the traveler fall unconscious and dream of a huge tree and a red sky. You also heard someone's voice, right? It said world and forget me. Yeah, so you do know! We've been wanting to ask you what that was about, and if the red sky was related to Conria. It seems like the traveler established a connection to Irminsul. That was a message left by Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's residual consciousness in Irminsul. Perhaps her last memory before she died. As you two probably know, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared after the disaster in Conria. The timings of these events do line up, so your suspicions are reasonable. A message from Greater Lord Rukkhadevata? We thought it was from the Scarlet King. The Scarlet King? That god who died even longer ago? Some present-day desert dwellers still worship him. You probably just heard some of their conspiracies. Okay, so what does the message mean? I still haven't managed to decipher it. Even the Akasha isn't currently capable of doing that. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's residual consciousness in Irminsul seems to be contaminated with something that has a very dangerous aura to it. Many devoted scholars go mad as soon as they connect their consciousness. I've warned the academia about this many times, but people still keep falling victim to it.
Todavía me queda una pregunta. ¿Ella está controlando a Catherine? Entonces Catherine está poseída porque Catherine es una persona, o las Catherine son avatars y simplemente son formas en las que los dioses se pueden conectar con ellos, con la gente, pero que cuando el dios no se quiere conectar, simplemente pues el avatar está ahí y no siente, no vive, simplemente es una máquina, por así decirlo. ¿Y qué pasa si la cortas a la mitad? ¿Tiene sangre? ¿Tiene órganos? ¿Es una persona sin mente? ¿Es una máquina? No sé.
But I believe this is the key to saving Irminsul. That's why I kept trying to decipher it.
¿Septiatras?
So the tree in the vision was Irminsul?
¿Gemelas de 7?
Oh, Tainari also said that Irminsul is sick. Is it because of the contaminated consciousness? But even if you can't figure out what that vision was all about, it seems like our search for you was all in vain. The traveler wasn't affected after coming in contact with that consciousness. I've never seen anyone like that. With you here, we may have a chance at deciphering it. No, we must decipher its secrets. I've already eliminated all other factors that might affect Irminsul. This is the only one left. This puzzle has life and death at stake. It could determine Irminsul's fate, as well as Teyvat's.
¿Por qué te ves como Catherine?
To be accurate, I'm using the Akasha as a medium to occupy Catherine's consciousness.
Entonces, Catherine sí es una persona y estás siendo poseída.
How did you do that? Poor Catherine. Does this mean you can also occupy other people's consciousnesses? Theoretically, I can enter anyone's mind as long as they're wearing their Akasha terminal. The Akasha is the legacy of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. As Lesser Lord Kusanali and the first Akasha terminal, my consciousness has always been linked to the Akasha. I've always respected my people's free will, so I've never actually occupied their consciousness.
Marioneta
When
biónica de
necessary,
Snezhnaya. Ahí está
I
la
just
clave.
borrow this bionic Snezhnayan puppet.
¿Es un androide entonces? Marioneta biónica es tal cual una cosa que se puede fabricar, o sea, biónica tal vez, es como un, claro, es un Terminator. Es literalmente una Terminator. Terminator es un robot que tiene partes humanas, carne y hueso y no, bueno, hueso no, carne y otras cosas para que la gente no se asuste al ver una máquina.
Hold on. Did we just learn some deep, dark secret? So Catherine is... No wonder Paimon felt something was off about her.
De Snezhnaya, además, o sea, cada... Claro. Claro, tiene sentido. ¿Cómo se infiltra Snezhnaya a los Fatui en cada nación? Pues tienen aquí a la mera buena, la jefa del gremio de aventureros, la que les da los encargos que se tienen que hacer. Está controlándonos a todos Snezhnaya desde lo más profundo de la nación, que es el gremio de aventureros. Fíjate nomás qué cosas.
What about your own body? Why do you need to borrow other people's? Don't you live in the sanctuary of Surasthana? That story begins a long time ago. After Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared, the sages found my newly born self and took me back to Sumeru. At that time, I was young and weak. The sages kept me in the sanctuary of Surasthana, ostensibly for the sake of protecting me. But I've hardly heard from them since. However, I do understand that they had hoped to find Greater Lord Rukkhadevata instead of me, a symbol of her passing. So, the sages basically put their new Archon under house arrest? How dare they! Why don't you teach them a lesson, Nahida? In some ways, they aren't wrong. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata was omniscient and omnipotent. Even after her death,
Pues
the
si era
Akasha is still
omnipotente, ¿por qué se
empowering this
murió?
nation. And I'm still really far away from being able to call myself the God of Wisdom.
Omnipotente. ¿Tú sabes lo que significa
The
omnipotente?
academia is also more proficient at governing this country.
Para mí ya eres un
My
excelente arconte.
existence has little meaning. Yeah, you got a lot of believers. Just look at the Sub-Zero's festival. Everyone who showed up truly loves you. Thank you for the kind words. But I honestly don't need physical freedom as long as I can connect my consciousness
Mientras
to the
puedas poseer a
Akasha.
los demás.
Trying to find a way to save Irminsul is my life's mission and top priority. I will work on that and try to live up to being a deity in the meantime. Every once in a while, I will also take up the duties of the God of Wisdom and enlighten a lost soul here and there. Doing all that should be enough.
¿Qué planean los sabios?
There's never been any big problems with the Academia's governance of Sumeru. This is the first time I've seen them step out of line. I wonder what caused them to go down this path and what they hope to achieve.
Los Fatui.
Even though the city's
No, no sé.
residents haven't
Tal vez.
noticed anything strange, if the traveler hadn't broken the Sub-Zero's samsara, the situation could have become dire. I tried to do some investigating in the Akasha, but I couldn't find anything suspicious. And all the people of interest seem to purposely avoid wearing their Akasha terminals. I think they're deliberately trying to hide something. Oh, that reminds Paimon. In Gandharvaville, there was a sage who had invited Tainari to join some kind of project. project. Could it be related? Regardless, I need to first investigate the sage's motives, make things right, and punish them if needed. But I'll have to be discreet, or they'll see me coming.
¿Nadie se ha dado cuenta del problema con el Akasha?
You mean how the Akasha stops you from having dreams? Yeah, it's been such a long time. No one's noticed something's up? It's not that no one noticed. It's more like no one cared. Ultimately, it's all rooted in the sage's misdirection. Misdirection? The sage has convinced everyone to believe that being unable to dream is a sign of rationality and wisdom. Not dreaming is a badge of honor in Sumeru. Even if the truth is that their dreams are being reaped by the Akasha. With their propaganda in place, the sages can maximize their use of the Akasha to facilitate their research. Besides, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata must have created the Akasha in the hopes that it could be used to its full potential. That's why I've never come out strongly against this. Anyway, the perspective advocated by the sages drowned out any voices of doubt. By now, even those who never use Akasha terminals find it too shameful and embarrassing to talk about their dreams. Got it! I hope my answers were satisfactory, seekers of knowledge. To be honest, maintaining Dunyarzad's fading dream took a lot of mental energy. I think I may need to rest for a while. Oh, and you don't need to worry too much about the sage's activities for now. The Akasha won't be able to conduct another project on the scale of the Sub-Zero Samsara in the immediate future.
Y si sí, ya sabes, nomás es que la niña baile y listo.
What a relief. This is truly the most exhausting birthday I've ever had.
Traveler? Paimon?
Ostras.
Why am I
Mija,
here?
espérate, regresa a su
Do
lugar y luego ya
either
la
of you know?
despiertas, no sé, duérmela o algo. No me la dejes aquí. ¡Eh! ¿Te la bañas?
Maybe you were sleepwalking. You know you can't wake up a sleepwalker. We happened to walk by, so we thought we'd wait for you to wake up.
I see. Huh. I should visit my maintenance personnel sometime. Oh, I'm fine. I better go. Thank you.
Ok. ¿Todavía no se acaba? Ah, la bestia. Ah, no, espérame, este no es... Misión de mundo, ¿no? Misión... ¿Esta de quién es? Ah, sí, ya acabé. Esta es la de... Yelan y esta es la de Kazuha, que no las he hecho, por cierto. Estas son misiones de mundo X. Misiones legendarias, a ver. Tignari. Ni siquiera lo había desbloqueado. Ok. A ver, y tampoco no he hecho las cosas de estas. Hay algunas que sí, otras que no. Va. Pues mira, justo a tiempo además. Vamos a terminar por aquí el episodio. Esta es la nueva. Sí. Estas ya las haré yo por mi cuenta. Ya no son tanto de la trama principal del juego, así que pues X. Pues sí, ya acabamos. Sí, me quedé pensando, pero no, ya todo bien. Por aquí vamos a ir dejando el episodio del día de hoy, gente. Espero que les haya gustado muchísimo. Nos vemos en el siguiente, que, ojo, hoy mismo 27 de septiembre. Tú lo vas a ver. No sé exactamente cuándo. A ver, déjame calcularte exactamente cuándo lo vas a ver. Videos 1, 2, 3. Tenemos estos. Este se va a subir el día de hoy. Hoy se sube 27, sí, ok. Entonces es 27, 28, 29, 30. ¿Tiene 31 el mes? No. 27, 28, 29, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tú vas a ver este episodio, si no me equivoco, el 4 de abril. Entonces, si no me equivoco, el 4 de abril, el 5 de abril, o sea, mañana que tú estés viendo este episodio, mañana en el canal, a esta misma hora que subí este episodio, vas a tener el primer episodio de la nueva versión 3.1 de Genshin Impact, con el desierto y todo eso. Vamos a ir hacia allá, vamos a desbloquear las nuevas misiones que tengamos, vamos a hacerlas aquí en el canal, así que no te lo pierdas. Espero que te haya gustado muchísimo este episodio. Suscríbete a este canal que tienes aquí en pantalla, suscríbete también a mis otras redes sociales que te las dejo aquí abajo en la descripción. Ya sabes, YouTube de todos los colores, el arcoíris de colores en las redes sociales. Y te dejo también un video sugerido por YouTube para que lo veas, chécalo, te va a gustar. Y una lista de reproducción aquí para que veas qué otras cositas estamos subiendo. Debería ser una lista de reproducción exclusivamente de Genshin Impact. La cosa es que el Genshin Impact lo junté con otras series, entonces está ahí complicadillo a veces. Pero bueno, nos vemos en el siguiente. Cuídate mucho. Hasta la próxima. Y chao, chao.